Imagine standing at the edge of the world's most dangerous secret, behind razor wire and armed guards, beneath miles of ocean, or hidden in plain sight among us. There are places on this earth that governments desperately don't want you to see. Places where one wrong step could mean death. Places where the truth is so dangerous that even knowing their exact location is classified. Right now, as you're watching this, there are 7 locations on our planet that are absolutely, completely, and utterly forbidden to you. Some hold secrets that could change history. Others contain horrors that could end it. And one of them might be hiding the key to humanity's greatest mystery. What makes these places so dangerous that entire nations have agreed you should never, ever be allowed inside? Let's find out. From the frozen wastelands of Antarctica to islands that don't exist on any public map, our world is dotted with locations that remain tantalizingly out of reach. These aren't just restricted areas or private property. These are places where international treaties, military force, and sometimes the laws of physics themselves conspire to keep you away. Some of these forbidden zones were created by human ambition, others by human fear, and a few exist because we stumbled upon things we weren't meant to find. Each location on our list tells a story about power, secrecy, and the lengths powerful people will go to protect their darkest secrets. But more than that, these places reveal something fundamental about human nature itself, our insatiable curiosity about the forbidden, and our terror of what we might discover if we're allowed to look too closely. So buckle up, because we're about to take you as close as anyone has ever gotten to 7 places that officially don't want you there. Location 1, Area 51, Nevada, USA. We begin our journey in the Nevada desert, where heat mirages dance across endless stretches of sand and sagebrush. Here, roughly 83 miles northwest of Las Vegas, lies perhaps the world's most famous secret, Area 51. The very name sends chills down conspiracy theorists' spines and has inspired countless movies, books, and late-night conversations. But what exactly is Area 51? And why has the US government spent decades pretending it doesn't exist? Officially, Area 51 is a classified remote detachment of Edwards Air Force Base. It was established in 1955 as a testing ground for the U-2 spy plane program. The location was chosen specifically because it was isolated, surrounded by mountains, and already part of the Nevada test site where nuclear weapons were being tested. But here's where things get interesting. For nearly 60 years, the US government refused to even acknowledge that Area 51 existed. Documents were classified, maps were altered, and anyone who came too close faced arrest or worse. The secrecy was so intense that even commercial airline pilots were forbidden from flying over the area. What were they hiding? The truth, as it often is, was both more mundane and more extraordinary than the public imagined. Area 51 wasn't hiding little green men or crashed flying saucers. Instead, it was the birthplace of some of humanity's most advanced aircraft. The U-2 spy plane, the SR-71 Blackbird, the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter, all of these revolutionary aircraft were developed and tested in the Nevada desert. Many of the UFO sightings in the area during the 1950s and 60s were actually test flights of these experimental aircraft. Their unusual shapes and flight patterns were so unlike anything the public had ever seen that witnesses naturally assumed they were looking at something otherworldly. But the secrecy surrounding Area 51 created its own monster. The more the government denied its existence, the more people became convinced it was hiding something truly extraordinary. Stories began to circulate about alien autopsies, reverse-engineered spacecraft, and secret meetings with extraterrestrial beings. The most famous of these stories emerged in 1989, when a man named Bob Lazar claimed he had worked at a facility called S4, located south of Area 51. Lazar alleged that he had been hired to reverse-engineer alien spacecraft and had seen 9 different alien vehicles. His story sparked a media frenzy and turned Area 51 into a cultural phenomenon. Today, if you try to approach Area 51, you'll encounter warning signs that make the consequences crystal clear. Deadly force is authorized. The perimeter is guarded by sensors, cameras, and security personnel known locally as Camo Dudes. Trespassers face arrest, massive fines, and possible imprisonment. But here's what makes Area 51 truly fascinating. It's still active. Satellite imagery shows ongoing construction, and locals report strange lights and unusual aircraft on a regular basis. Whatever secrets Area 51 once held, it's clear that new ones are being created there every day. Location 2. Svalbard Global Seed Vault, Norway. Our next stop takes us to one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth, the Svalbard Archipelago in the Arctic Ocean, about 800 miles from the North Pole. Here, built into a frozen mountainside on the Norwegian island of Spitsbergen, lies what many call the Doomsday Vault. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault looks like something from a science fiction movie. A concrete and steel structure jutting out of a snow-covered mountain, its entrance marked by an artwork that glows hauntingly in the Arctic darkness. But this isn't a movie set or an artist's installation. This is humanity's backup plan. Inside this vault, buried 400 feet into the permafrost, lies one of the world's most important collections: seeds. Not just any seeds, but samples from virtually every crop variety on Earth. Rice from Asia, wheat from Europe, corn from the Americas, and thousands of other plant varieties that represent thousands of years of human agricultural development. The vault was opened in 2008 with a simple but sobering mission: to preserve the genetic diversity of our food crops in case of global catastrophe. Whether that catastrophe comes in the form of nuclear war, climate change, pandemic, or asteroid impact, the Svalbard Vault is designed to give future generations the tools they need to rebuild agriculture and feed the world. The location was chosen carefully. Svalbard is geologically stable, with no volcanic activity or earthquakes. The permafrost provides natural refrigeration, keeping the seeds frozen even if the vault's mechanical systems fail. And the location is so remote and harsh that it's naturally protected from human interference. But here's what makes this place truly forbidden. Access is strictly controlled by an international treaty. Only a handful of scientists and officials are allowed inside, and the vault is opened just a few times per year to deposit new seeds. The Norwegian government maintains tight security, and the archipelago itself requires special permits just to visit. Inside the vault, the temperature is kept at -18 degrees Celsius. The seeds are stored in sealed aluminum packets, placed inside boxes, and stacked on shelves in 3 separate chambers. Each chamber can hold about 1.5 million seed samples, and the entire facility can store up to 4.5 million samples. What makes this story even more compelling is that the vault has already been used for its intended purpose. In 2015, researchers in Syria requested seeds from the vault to help restore crops destroyed by the ongoing civil war. It was the first withdrawal from what was supposed to be a last resort, proving that the doomsday scenarios the vault was designed for aren't just theoretical, But the Svalbard Vault faces its own challenges. Climate change is affecting even the Arctic, and in 2017, unexpected melting caused water to enter the vault's entrance tunnel. While the seeds remained safe, the incident highlighted the fact that even our most carefully planned backup systems aren't immune to the changes happening on our planet. The vault represents both humanity's greatest hope and our deepest fear, that we might need it. Every seed deposited there is an acknowledgement that the future is uncertain, and that the very foundation of human civilization, our ability to grow food, could be threatened. What other preparations are being made in secret locations around the world? What other backup plans exist that we're not allowed to know about? Location 3. Vatican's Secret Archives. Vatican City. From the frozen Arctic, we travel to the heart of Rome, where within the walls of the smallest country in the world lies one of history's most guarded repositories of secrets, the Vatican Secret Archives. For over 400 years, these archives have been completely off-limits to outsiders. Even today, access is restricted to a handful of qualified scholars who must go through an intensive application process, and even then, they can only request specific documents and are monitored constantly while viewing them. The archives contain an estimated 35,000 volumes of cataloged material, with some documents dating back over 1,000 years. But here's the thing that captures the imagination. Nobody knows what's really in there. The Catholic Church has been one of the world's most powerful institutions for nearly 2 millennia, and its archives potentially contain documentation of events that could rewrite history. What secrets might be hidden in those climate-controlled vaults beneath the Vatican? Consider what we do know the Church was involved in throughout history. The Inquisition, the Crusades, interactions with Galileo, responses to the Holocaust, negotiations with Hitler's regime, dealings with organized crime, and countless other controversial events. Documents related to all of these events could be sitting in those archives right now. In 1981, the Church announced that it would begin a gradual process of opening some historical documents to researchers, but the process has been painfully slow. Documents about Pope Pius XII's papacy during World War II weren't released until 2019, and they revealed that the Vatican had detailed knowledge of the Holocaust much earlier than previously acknowledged. But it's not just historical documents that make the Vatican archives fascinating. The Church has been involved in investigating unexplained phenomena for centuries. Every claimed miracle, every reported apparition, every case of alleged demonic possession has been carefully documented and investigated by Church officials. These investigations often involve scientific testing, medical examinations, and detailed interviews with witnesses. The results of these investigations are filed away in the archives, creating what might be the world's largest collection of documents related to unexplained phenomena. Consider the famous case of the Third Secret of Fatima. In 1917, 3 Portuguese children claimed to have received visions from the Virgin Mary, including 3 secrets. 2 of these secrets were revealed relatively quickly, but the third remained hidden in the Vatican archives for over 80 years. When it was finally released in 2000, many believers felt that the Church had not revealed the complete truth. The archives also allegedly contain documents related to the Vatican's astronomical observations. The Church operates several observatories around the world and has been studying the cosmos for centuries. What have they seen? What have they discovered? Are there documents in those archives that could change our understanding of our place in the universe? Perhaps most intriguingly, the archives may contain documents related to the Church's secret diplomatic activities. For centuries, the Vatican has served as a neutral mediator in international conflicts, often working behind the scenes to negotiate peace agreements or prisoner exchanges. These negotiations would have been documented, creating a secret history of international relations that spans centuries. The very name, Secret Archives, has fueled countless conspiracy theories. Some believe the archives contain evidence of extraterrestrial contact. Others think they hold proof that major historical events unfolded differently than officially recorded. Still others believe the archives contain religious relics or texts that could shake the foundations of Christian faith. The Church has tried to address some of these concerns by renaming the facility the Vatican Apostolic Archives in 2019, emphasizing that secret simply means private in Latin, not necessarily hidden for sinister purposes. But the name change has done little to diminish public fascination with what lies behind those locked doors. What we do know is that the Vatican takes security extremely seriously. The archives are guarded 24 hours a day, protected by state-of-the-art security systems, and stored in climate-controlled conditions designed to preserve documents for centuries to come. Location 4. Poveglia Island, Italy. Just a few miles south of Venice, in the calm waters of the Venetian lagoon, sits a small island that most maps don't even bother to name. Poveglia Island spans just 17 acres, but its dark history has earned it a reputation as one of the most haunted and forbidden places on Earth. The island's nightmare began in 1348, when the Black Death swept through Europe. Venice, being a major trading port, was particularly vulnerable to the plague. As bodies began piling up in the city, Venetian authorities made a grim decision. They would use Poveglia as a quarantine island for plague victims. What happened next defies comprehension. Over the following centuries, an estimated 160,000 people were taken to Poveglia. Many arrived already dead, others were dying, and some were simply suspected of being infected. All of them stayed forever. Bodies were burned in massive pyres that burned continuously for decades. The ash from these fires, mixed with human bone fragments, was worked into the soil. Today, the island's beaches are still littered with human bone fragments that wash up with every tide. Local fishermen refuse to fish in the surrounding waters because their nets frequently bring up human bones. But Poveglia's horrors didn't end with the plague. In the 1920s, a mental hospital was built on the island. The hospital was run by a doctor who, according to local accounts, performed brutal experiments on patients. Stories tell of lobotomies performed with basic tools, experimental procedures conducted without anesthesia, and patients who simply disappeared. The doctor allegedly became obsessed with the island's dark history and began to claim that he could hear the voices of plague victims. According to legend, he eventually threw himself from the hospital's bell tower, though whether this was suicide or something more sinister remains unclear. The mental hospital closed in 1968, and since then, Poveglia has remained abandoned. The Italian government has strictly forbidden public access to the island. Official reasons cite the structural instability of the abandoned buildings and the potential health hazards from the island's history. But locals have their own theories about why the island remains off-limits. Several attempts have been made to develop the island. In 2014, the Italian government actually put Poveglia up for auction, hoping to lease it to developers who might turn it into a luxury resort or private retreat. Luigi Brugnaro, a wealthy businessman who later became mayor of Venice, placed the winning bid of €513,000. But every attempt to develop Poveglia has failed. Construction workers report feeling watched, hearing unexplained voices and experiencing equipment failures. Some have quit after just days on the job, claiming the island has an evil presence. Paranormal investigators who have managed to visit the island illegally report some of the most intense supernatural activity they've ever encountered. Electronic equipment malfunctions, temperatures drop suddenly, and many investigators report feeling physically ill while on the island. The island's soil composition supports these dark stories in a very real way. Tests have revealed that over 50% of the island's soil is human ash. When you walk on Poveglia, you are literally walking on the remains of thousands of human beings. What makes Poveglia particularly unsettling is how close it is to one of the world's most romantic and visited cities. Tourists taking gondola rides through Venice can actually see the island in the distance, completely unaware of its horrific history. Local Venetians have their own relationship with Poveglia. Many refuse to even speak its name, referring to it simply as the Island of No Return. Fishermen report that their catches taste strange when taken from waters near Poveglia, and some claim their nets have brought up human skulls along with fish. The Italian government's official position is that Poveglia is closed for safety reasons, but they've also made it clear that trespassers will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The waters around the island are regularly patrolled, and anyone attempting to land there without permission faces significant fines and possible imprisonment. Yet, despite all the warnings and restrictions, Poveglia continues to attract those who are drawn to dark places. Urban explorers, paranormal investigators, and thrill seekers regularly attempt to reach the island, though most are turned back before they can land. The question that haunts investigators and historians alike is this: what really happened on Poveglia? Are the stories of mass cremations and brutal medical experiments true? Or have centuries of rumors and fear created a legend that's more terrifying than the reality? Location 5, Room 39, North Korea. Deep within the secretive nation of North Korea, in a building that doesn't appear on any map, lies perhaps the most mysterious government department in the world, Room 39. This isn't actually a room at all, but rather a shadowy organization that allegedly serves as the secret slush fund for the Kim dynasty. Room 39, also known as Bureau 39, is believed to be the nerve center of North Korea's illicit activities around the globe. According to defectors and intelligence sources, this organization is responsible for generating foreign currency for the North Korean leadership through any means necessary, including counterfeiting, drug trafficking, arms dealing, and cybercrime. The organization reportedly employs thousands of agents working in dozens of countries, all with one goal: funnel money back to the Kim regime. The amounts involved are staggering. Intelligence estimates suggest that Room 39 generates between $500 million and $1 billion annually for the North Korean government. But what makes Room 39 truly fascinating isn't just its alleged criminal activities, it's how it operates as a state within a state. The organization reportedly has its own diplomatic network, its own businesses, and its own intelligence apparatus. In many ways, Room 39 might be more powerful than North Korea's official government. Consider the scope of their alleged operations. In restaurants across Asia, beautiful North Korean women serve traditional food to unsuspecting customers. These restaurants, which number in the dozens across China, Russia, and Southeast Asia, are reportedly fronts for Room 39 operations. The women working there are carefully selected and trained not just as servers, but as intelligence assets. The organization allegedly operates a network of companies around the world. In Africa, North Korean workers build monuments and infrastructure projects, with a significant portion of their wages flowing back to Room 39. In Europe, North Korean diplomats allegedly engage in everything from drug smuggling to selling weapons to terrorist organizations. But perhaps most disturbing are the allegations of Room 39's involvement in cybercrime. The infamous WannaCry ransomware attack that crippled computer systems around the world in 2017 has been attributed to North Korean hackers, with the profits allegedly flowing through Room 39 channels. The organization's headquarters is believed to be located in a nondescript building in Pyongyang, but its exact location remains unknown. Some reports suggest it operates from the Workers' Party headquarters, while others claim it has its own dedicated facility. What we do know is that the building, wherever it is, would be one of the most heavily guarded locations in one of the world's most secretive countries. Access to Room 39 would be impossible for outsiders, and even most North Korean officials are believed to be unaware of its full scope of operations. The organization reportedly answers directly to the supreme leader, bypassing normal government channels entirely. What makes Room 39 particularly intriguing is how it represents a perfect example of a modern criminal organization operating under the protection of a sovereign nation. Traditional criminal enterprises have to hide from law enforcement, but Room 39 operates with the full backing of the North Korean state. The organization's influence extends far beyond North Korea's borders. Intelligence sources suggest that Room 39 has relationships with criminal organizations around the world, from Japanese Yakuza to African warlords to Eastern European crime syndicates. In many cases, these relationships involve not just business arrangements, but actual partnerships in criminal ventures. Perhaps most concerning is Room 39's alleged involvement in weapons trafficking. The organization is believed to be responsible for selling North Korean weapons technology to countries and organizations around the world, potentially including nuclear technology. These sales not only generate revenue for the regime, but also spread dangerous weapons technology to unstable regions. The secrecy surrounding Room 39 makes it nearly impossible to verify these allegations, but the evidence continues to mount. Defectors from North Korea have provided detailed accounts of the organization's structure and operations. International law enforcement agencies have uncovered financial networks that appear to lead back to North Korean government entities. What's truly chilling about Room 39 is how it represents the evolution of state-sponsored crime in the 21st century. While traditional espionage focused on gathering intelligence, organizations like Room 39 are actively engaged in criminal enterprises to fund their operations and advance their government's interests. The question that keeps intelligence analysts awake at night is this: if Room 39 is capable of generating hundreds of millions of dollars annually through illicit activities, what other capabilities might it have? Could it be involved in assassination plots? Could it be planning terrorist attacks? Could it be developing capabilities to attack critical infrastructure in other countries? Location 6, Mezhgory, Russia. In the remote Ural Mountains of Russia, roughly 120 miles southeast of the city of Ufa, lies a town that officially doesn't exist. Mezhgory is a closed city, meaning it doesn't appear on maps. GPS systems don't recognize it, and Russian citizens need special permits even to approach the area. But Mezhgory isn't just any closed city. Western intelligence agencies believe it houses one of Russia's most terrifying Cold War projects. A massive underground complex designed to ensure the survival of Russian leadership in the event of nuclear war. The town was established in the late 1970s during the height of the Cold War. Officially, it was described as a mining operation, but the massive construction project and heavy security presence suggested something far more significant was taking place. Intelligence analysts believe that beneath Medjugorje lies a sprawling underground complex known as Mount Yamantau. This facility, carved into the mountain itself, is believed to be capable of housing thousands of people for extended periods. Some estimates suggest the complex covers an area larger than the Washington metro system. What makes Medjugorje truly unsettling is the purpose this facility was allegedly designed to serve. According to intelligence sources, Mount Yamantau was built as a continuity of government facility, a place where Russian leadership could retreat in the event of nuclear war and continue to govern whatever remained of their country. But the facility may have an even more sinister purpose. Some intelligence analysts believe that Mount Yamantau houses components of Russia's Dead Hand system, an automated nuclear response system designed to launch nuclear weapons even if all Russian leadership is killed in a first strike. The very existence of such a system represents one of humanity's most terrifying scenarios. Nuclear weapons that could be launched automatically, without human intervention. In response to an attack, the system would essentially ensure mutual destruction, even if one side succeeded in completely destroying the other side's command structure. Construction at Medjugorje continued well past the end of the Cold War, suggesting that whatever is being built there remains relevant to Russian strategic planning. Satellite imagery shows ongoing construction activity, new buildings, and massive excavation projects that dwarf the original 1970s construction. The security around Medjugorje is extraordinary, even by Russian standards. The town is surrounded by multiple layers of security, including restricted airspace, ground-based anti-aircraft systems, and what appears to be a dedicated military garrison. Anyone attempting to approach the area without authorization would face immediate arrest or worse. What makes this location particularly fascinating is how it represents the ultimate expression of Cold War paranoia. The idea that an entire mountain could be hollowed out and converted into an underground city speaks to the level of resources nations were willing to commit to preparing for nuclear war. But Medjugorje also raises troubling questions about current Russian intentions. If this facility was simply a Cold War relic, why is construction still ongoing? Why is security still so intense? What modern purposes might this facility serve? Some analysts suggest that Mount Yamantau could serve as a command center for Russia's modern hybrid warfare operations. The facility could house cyber warfare units, electronic warfare systems, and command centers for coordinating military operations around the world. Others believe the facility might be connected to Russia's development of new weapon systems. The massive underground complex could provide ideal conditions for testing and developing technologies that require secrecy and security. Perhaps most concerning is the possibility that Mount Yamantau remains connected to Russia's nuclear command and control systems. In an era of increasing tensions between nuclear powers, the existence of automated systems designed to ensure nuclear retaliation represents a constant threat to global stability. The Russian government has never acknowledged what actually exists at Medjugorje, maintaining the fiction that it's simply a mining operation. But the level of security, the scale of construction, and the ongoing activity all suggest that whatever lies beneath that mountain remains one of Russia's most important strategic assets. For those who study nuclear strategy, Medjugorje represents both the ultimate preparation and the ultimate fear. That somewhere, buried beneath a mountain in Russia, lies a system designed to ensure that if civilization ends, it ends for everyone. Location 7. Pine Gap, Australia. In the Red Desert of Central Australia, about 18 kilometers southwest of Alice Springs, sits a cluster of white geodesic domes and satellite dishes that look like something from another planet. This is Pine Gap, officially known as the Joint Defense Facility Pine Gap, and it's one of the most important intelligence-gathering facilities in the world. Pine Gap is a joint operation between Australia and the United States. Established in 1966 during the Cold War as a ground station for American spy satellites. But what started as a simple satellite monitoring facility has evolved into something far more complex and controversial. The facility is operated by both the Australian Department of Defense and several U.S. intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and National Reconnaissance Office. Together, they operate what is essentially a window into every electronic communication happening across a vast portion of the Earth's surface. The white domes that dominate Pine Gap's landscape house sophisticated satellite dishes and electronic equipment capable of intercepting virtually any form of electronic communication. Phone calls, emails, text messages, internet traffic, and even encrypted military communications can potentially be monitored from this remote location in the Australian desert. But Pine Gap's capabilities extend far beyond simple eavesdropping. The facility plays a crucial role in controlling American military operations around the world. The satellites controlled from Pine Gap provide real-time intelligence for drone strikes, missile guidance systems, and military operations from Afghanistan to Africa. This dual role, intelligence gathering and military operations support, has made Pine Gap one of the most controversial installations in the Southern Hemisphere. Critics argue that Australia has journalists who have attempted to investigate Pine Gap have faced harassment, surveillance, and legal threats. Access to Pine Gap requires not just security clearances from both Australia and the United States, but also special background checks that can take years to complete. Even then, most personnel are restricted to specific areas of the facility and are prohibited from discussing their work with anyone, including family members. What makes Pine Gap particularly intriguing is how its role has evolved with changing technology. Originally designed to monitor Soviet communications during the Cold War, the facility has adapted to focus on terrorism, cybercrime, and the monitoring of emerging powers like China and North Korea. The facility's location in Central Australia was chosen for several reasons. The desert location provides natural isolation and security, while Australia's position in the Southern Hemisphere gives the facility's satellites coverage of areas that would be difficult to monitor from installations in North America or Europe. But Pine Gap's remote location also makes it an ideal place for activities that the Australian and American governments prefer to keep secret. The facility is believed to be involved in signals intelligence operations that would be illegal if conducted within the borders of either Australia or the United States. Recent revelations by intelligence whistleblowers have suggested that Pine Gap plays a role in mass surveillance programs that monitor the communications of ordinary citizens around the world. The facility's capabilities allegedly include the ability to intercept virtually any electronic communication, regardless of encryption or security measures. Perhaps most controversial is Pine Gap's role in targeted killing operations. Intelligence sources suggest that the facility provides targeting information for drone strikes and other military operations, making Australia an active participant in America's global military campaigns. The facility has also been linked to space warfare preparations, As military conflicts increasingly extend into space, Pine Gap's satellite monitoring capabilities make it a crucial asset for tracking and potentially targeting enemy satellites and space-based weapon systems. But what truly makes Pine Gap forbidden isn't just its security measures or legal protections. It's what the facility represents: the extension of American military and intelligence power into allied nations, often without the full knowledge or consent of those nations' citizens. For many Australians, Pine Gap represents a troubling compromise of their country's sovereignty. The facility operates under agreements that were negotiated in secret and remain classified, meaning that Australian citizens have no way of knowing what their government has agreed to allow on Australian soil. The question that haunts critics of Pine Gap is simple. In a democratic society, should citizens have the right to know what intelligence operations are being conducted in their name? And what are the long-term consequences of allowing foreign intelligence agencies to operate with such secrecy within Australia's borders? As we've journeyed across the globe, from the Nevada desert to the Australian outback, we've discovered that our world is filled with places that remain tantalizingly beyond our reach. Each of these forbidden locations tells a story about power, secrecy, and the lengths to which governments and organizations will go to protect their most sensitive operations. But perhaps what's most striking about these 7 locations is what they reveal about us as human beings. Despite all the warnings, security measures, and legal threats, people continue to be drawn to forbidden places. We are creatures of curiosity, and the more we're told we can't go somewhere, the more we want to see what's there. These locations also remind us that in an age of satellite imagery, social media, and instant global communication, there are still secrets being kept. There are still places where the truth remains hidden, where access is controlled by people who believe that some knowledge is too dangerous to share. From Area 51's experimental aircraft to the Vatican's ancient documents, from North Korea's criminal enterprises to Russia's underground cities. These forbidden places represent the hidden architecture of our world. They are the spaces where power operates in darkness, where decisions are made that affect all of us, but remain invisible to most of us. But here's the most unsettling thought of all. These 7 locations are just the ones we know about. How many other forbidden places exist that we haven't discovered yet? How many secrets are being kept in locations so classified that we don't even know they exist? As you go about your daily life, remember that beneath our ordinary world lies another world entirely. A world of classified installations, secret meetings, and hidden agendas. A world where some people know secrets that could change everything, and others work tirelessly to make sure those secrets never see the light of day. The next time you look at a map, or fly over a seemingly empty stretch of desert, or walk past an unmarked building in your own city, ask yourself, what don't I know? What's being hidden? And why are there people who believe I'm not allowed to know? Because in the end, the most forbidden place of all might be the truth itself. What other secrets do you think are being kept from us? What other forbidden places might exist that we haven't even discovered yet? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the world's hidden mysteries.